Good evening, Bhante and all Kalyanamitas. Namo Buddhaya and Sukhi Hontu. I'm Aliana and welcome to TRV Friday Sutta discussion by Bhante Dr G Chandima. This is the day 131 of Sutta discussion class. Tonight's class is the 9th class of Girimānanda Sutta with topic the perception of non-delight in the whole world of Sabaloke Anabhiratasanya. Girimānanda Sutta is the 11th sutta that has been chosen by Bhante Chandima for this sutta discussion. In previous classes, Bhante has discussed about Mangala Sutta, Ratana Sutta, Metta Sutta, Sigalowada Sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Sabbasawa Sutta, Patakama Sutta, Patamasamajīvi Sutta, Alawaka Sutta, and Dajaga Sutta, which Bhante has elaborated those sutta in depth. For those who have missed our previous classes, please check on Ti-Ratana Vihara Aman Perdana Klang Facebook page and YouTube channel. We have uploaded the previous classes there. We are always welcoming newcomers, therefore whoever that wish to join the class via Zoom where we can engage directly with Bhante can contact the Vihara through TRV Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. Our speaker Bhante Dr G Chandima is the Associate Editor of the Journal of International Buddhist Studies or JIBS, which is published by the Buddhist Research Institute of Mahachulalongkorn Raja Vidyalaya University in Thailand. He was previously a research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Society or CSRS at University of Victoria, Canada. Bhante Dr. Chandima was also a Theravada Buddhist chaplain at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada for year 2012 till 2016. Bhante is currently the Senior Advisor to Patisota, a virtual Dhamma organization that hosts a weekly online Pali reading class, Sutta discussion, Dhamma talks, and a variety of Dhamma activities. His Dhamma work can be accessed at www.patisota.blogspot.com, and we can also follow Bhante at Patisota Facebook account. Without further ado, we welcome once again Bhante, and as always, thank you very much for the wonderful guidance and teaching. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Aliana. Good evening and Happy New Year to all of Aliana mentors in this TRV Friday Sutta discussion. Today we are going to have the 9th class of the Girimānanda Sutta and 121 class overall, which we started almost going to be 3 years from today. So we will get started today by paying respect to the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, as usual, today we have Aliana, Kim, Saviris, Margaret, Tan, Melinda, Ang, Kelvin, Barbara, Corina, Sumita, Lily, Lim, Hui, Chun, TC Lim, and perhaps some others might join as we proceed. So, before we get to the Sutta discussion's name, actually, today's name is, title is going to be what we call Sabbaloke Anabhiratasanya. The perception of non-delight in the whole world. It's a pretty interesting, interesting title and also a perception. But how does someone who made a resolution on the 1st of January look at this thing? Have you made a resolution on the 1st of January, or aspiration or resolution? Or are you the same 2024 person? What did you do? Did you make a resolution? Aspiration? Actually, are you going to? Probably there are a few more days to finish this week. Yeah, I'm asking you. Did you? You made, huh?
Yes, we made.
Okay. Now the thing is that in English we know resolution and aspiration have a difference in the context of meaning. Resolution can be a little bit of a tedious thing. Say, for instance, for someone who is very out of shape, would like to cut down on the weight within 365 days. Perhaps this might not be a reality. Maybe it might take more years. Maybe it might need more other things. So at that point, it will be better to done in an aspiration level. You want to do it, but gradually, slowly, by taking time, by taking small activities, you will make it. So in the context of resolution in English, we understand it can be sometimes unrealistic. But the commonplace is resolution is what people make. As Buddhists, are we supposed to take this as an opportunity to inspire us? Are we supposed to take January 1st or first, maybe the first week of January as an inspiration to, do whatever our purpose as a Buddhist? What do you think? Normally, we don't have that many days to become inspired in our calendar, right? Maybe the birthday, I don't know, you are inspired on your birthday, or you are thinking, like going to a place on the birthday, and then the person is saying that you are one day closer to the death now, on the birthday. Think, what is this? I wanted to think about my birthday in a positive way. So, are we supposed to take this as an opportunity to think about our journey, Dhamma journey, secular journey? It might be a
For me, every day should be a brand new resolution now, Bhante. Like if we live moment to moment, so it's like every time we are refreshed for the present moment. So I don't really go for New Year resolution, but just like live moment by moment.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, that's what we have to come at one day. I mean, if we are not there, but we accept the Gregorian calendar. This Gregorian calendar. I mean, January 1st to December 31st, and then we know that things are happening, though we like or not. So yes, I mean, every day can be a day of inspiration, motivation. But I think at the same time, it would be a good idea for someone to consider about the perspective, purpose, ambition, Dhamma journey, direction of the Dhamma journey this time. So I mean, it's good. So because why I wanted to highlight this thing is that today's topic has a relevance to this idea. Okay.
Bhante.
Loke. Yes, others.
For me, I see like every time when we get into a problem or argument or something, then we make a resolution regarding where the mistake comes, how we're going to correct it. That would be better isn't it? Every time when we get into any issue, argument or something. So we see whether are we in the right side. If we are wrong, we try to apologize for it. That'll be good that way. So
yeah, that's a very positive way. But the thing is this: every time somebody become angry, at that point, at the end of that particular experience, that person is to think that, okay, I'm not gonna be angry again. But this is not a realistic idea because we become angry, right? But the idea is that I want to find out why am I getting angry. Not that I don't want to be angry. Why am I getting angry? What's the problem that I'm having? So that kind of a thing is better every time. You see, why am I getting upset? Why am I getting mad? Why am I getting frustrated? Why am I getting not happy at the end? Not that I shouldn't be unhappy, rather than why am I getting unhappy? This, I mean, looking for the source, as you said, yes, every experience.
yeah, whose
can be
mistake is
used.
it? Mine. is it mine or his or hers or whoever it
Yeah,
is we argue with? At the same time, we find a solution to it, and the minute we know we are wrong, we apologize for it.
Yeah, that's a good way also. But at the same time, in the long run, it is better to have a certain understanding about why things are happening. Because Buddhism is more towards the cause than the result. Looking for the cause and then trying to minimize that cause is giving us a problem again. Not that I shouldn't be, but everybody is angry at the end. Like the teacher I told you, Dhamma school teacher was teaching anger management for 5 days in the Dhamma school somewhere in the world. And then on the 6th day, students guess very exactly that, okay, he's going to teach anger management again, And then they were kind of like smiling. And then the teacher got mad at that point. He got angry on that day. The person who is going to teach anger management, right? So the interesting thing is that rather than going to come up with a very haphazard, very heavy solution to something, it's better to review why is it happening, right? That is the most important thing in our emotional management. Then I think we can get rid of a lot of issues, akusala activities. Yes, Gan, you have a...
Yeah, Bhante, I want to know, like when we are meditating, when when unwholesome thoughts come out, do we also ask why do we have this unwholesome thought?
First time I heard that someone is meditating and having akusala thoughts.
No, I mean like there are many thoughts that pass by when
normally people are actually cruising in the safe water in the meditation, They get into the
sorry.
safe water. But I think, yes, it is normal as well. When you meditate, I understand meditation seems to all of us a daily activity that can go to every activity. During that time, if you are still unable to manage your thoughts, not stop the thoughts. You can't stop the thought. Manage your thoughts. Then I assume the problem might be the way how you meditate. That could be one thing. The instructions, whether you are following the proper instructions from whoever the teacher, or maybe the way how it was really given. Number two is that your effort, energy problem. Are you putting enough energy to that particular practice? You know what should be done, but you are not having enough energy to carry on that particular meditation. Energy actually, right effort, samavaya. So it is a case-by-case thing. Unless I know the whole situation, cannot give a very specific answer, but there are the areas to look at. Okay.
Bhante,
Yes.
Bhante, I agree with Sister Gan that we don't have to wait for a certain period of time or New Year or whatever time to think of resolutions. And also we don't need to wait until there are conflicts to think, because during the conflict we cannot think very clearly, I feel, and then the resolution will get a bit more difficult to piece together this resolution for a certain period of time, say 1 year's time, if within that 1 year. So like what Ms. Khan said, from moment to moment is the best way. I think so.
Yeah. That's what we've been talking. Actually, we have to talk about the regular standard way. At the same time, the wisest way. The wisest way is every moment is a moment of inspiration and aspiration. But the thing is that for someone who is starting out the journey, we have to give them the hope. So that is the general regular way. So then probably this person has not been having a lot of positive, skillful activities. Okay, the new year has come in now. You can make a wish. You can make a resolution, right? So we start with that kind of a very standard, regular point of view. But for us, we should not limit to January 1st. Then let's say you are a wrong person, bad person, you have to wait for another couple of months to pass. 2026, January 1st to become a better person. Right? That's true. But the thing is that for someone who is starting out the practice, yes, you have a day, you have a time now, you can start. But we don't have to wait for Vesak Day, Katina Day, Vasana Day, Namato, meditation retreat, January 1st. We don't have to. But for someone who is starting out, this could be a good opportunity. Because people are following Dhamma from different perspectives. All right. Sabba Loke Anabirata Sanya. Let's take a look at the text first. Okay. First, let's take a look at the text, Pali text over here. Who would like to read this part? Okay, this part. It's a very short one, but lots of things to discuss. You can raise your virtual hand if you want. Anyone? Arya, please. Yes.
Katama Chananda Sabaloke Anabiratasanya Idananda Bhikkhu Ye Loke Upadana Cetaso Aditana Bini Vesanusaya Te Pajahanto Viharati Anupadiyanto.
And then this part too. Chitananda.
Ayang Vucatananda Sabaloke Anabiratasanya.
Okay. There is a missing part over here. I have to write it here. Upai. Okay, great. Ayang Vucatananda Nirodha Sanya. That was the last sentence of the previous Sanya. Today is going to be the, which Sanya is this? Number 8. Number 8. Katama Chananda Sabba Loke Anabirata Sanya. Idhananda Bhikkhu Ye Loke Upayupadana. It's a combination. There's a missing part here. Ye Loke Upayupadana Chetaso Aditthana Bhi Nivesanusaya. There are 3 Pali words over here. Aditta, Aditthana, Abhinivesana, Anusaya. 3 Pali words. Te Pajahanto Viramati. And there is another missing part here. It should be Viramati. Viramati na Upadiyanto. This happens when we pick up the Burmese text sometime. Katama Chananda Sabba Loke Anabirata Sanya. Idhananda Bhikkhu Ye Loke Upayupadana Chetasu. Aditthana Binivesanusaya Te Pajahantu Viharati. Sorry, Viramati. It has to be, this has to be Viramati, not Viharati. Viramati. Perhaps I will update the text again later. Viramati na Upadiyanto. Okay. Sabba Loke Anabirata in Sanya, you know. What is Sabba? Sabba means? You can go to the
All.
translation here.
All.
All, entire. Then Loke,
World.
world. Sabba Loke, whole world, complete world, entire world. Anabirata, Abirata. Cross out A-N, then you take Anabirata. Abirata. Abirata means
Enjoy.
enjoy, you delight in that particular experience. So that means delighting in the experience of the world. But here, Anabirata. Anabirata means,
Not enjoy.
I would say, non-delight.
Despite.
Non-delight in the experience of entire world. Okay, I think now let's take a moment of time to think about the perception of the non-delight in the entire world. Now we have to figure out a couple of things here. What is this word? Loka, L-O-K. Does Buddhism, does Pali have a one meaning to Loka, L-O-K-A? Maybe I'm going to send you this Pali word here, Loka. Where are the places you find Loka in your readings before?
Loka Vidu.
Loka Vidu. Loka Vidu. Okay, this one. Loka Vidu. What does it mean?
Knower of the world.
Yeah.
Knower of the world. That's a bit of insult to the Buddha, right? Buddha doesn't even know the world. He knows the universe, right? I mean, the way how we translate literally, it's kind of not on a par with what he is eligible to see, actually. He's talking about world system, Loka Dhatu. In many suttas, the Buddha says he can see Loka Dhatu. Loka Dhatu means not world systems. Where do you find this Pali word, Loka Dhatu? I'm asking back the revisions. Huh? You know what it is. We done it too. Where do we find this Pali word, Loka Dhatu? In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. There what we see, the cry, Saddha Manussavisum, the sound or the cry of different deva went up to the world systems. World system means now we have a world system which has a couple of planets over here, and then we say this is a certain solar system. But in the Buddhist cosmology, the Buddha says that there are thousands of world systems which has their own planets within. Not even one sun. World system. And the cry of the different devas went as far as the different world systems. So then it's kind of an insult to say that Buddha only knows the world, rather than saying that Loka Vidu means Buddha knows the complete entire universal experience. That's kind of a contextual translation. That's why we cannot translate some Pali words. When we translate, if you really know Buddhism, you feel that something is lacking in that translation. It's like, I practice mindfulness. Really? But I understand, people understand, those who read properly, when you're practicing sati, you sometimes have to empty your mind. So if emptying the mind is a part of this mindfulness, or I would say meditation practice, then how can you solely, completely put this practice as a mindfulness practice? You are filling the mind with certain good qualities, right? Mindfulness. But in the Buddhist experience of Samma Sati, there are lots of things Buddha is talking, like under the Samma Vayama, you have to empty the mind from the akusala activities. Maybe you have to unlearn unskillful activities. So where is that part reflecting in the word of mindfulness? That's the problem. So we understand the English word mindfulness come from John Kabat-Singh's mindfulness for stress reduction, which was started in 70s, 80s as a university neuroscience kind of a course. That's why we have to be very careful. When we learn about Pali, we understand the bigger, broader picture of that. Okay. Loka Vidu is the first one you know about Loka. Loka Vidu means Buddha knows the whole universe, which has primarily Kama Loka, sensual world, then Rupa Loka, material world, and then immaterial world. That means Arupa Loka. So the Buddha knows all these three. What does it mean by he knows all these three worlds? Does it mean that he can tell somebody the topography, geography of these places, or he knows the whims and fancies of all the beings who are living in these places? What does it mean by he knows? Now, say for instance, if you are a physics teacher, you might say, I know quantum physics, right? But what does it mean by you know quantum physics? You are an expert in that subject. Probably to that extent, that person might say, I know better than somebody else. But then how do we understand Lokavidu from the Buddha's point of view? He knows the intentions, the workings, the behaviors, ideas, then emotional structures of such as everything of different beings who are living in these three worlds. But when you say three worlds, it could be a part of many world systems which we don't understand properly until there's a scientific experiment is going to be completed one day. Anyways, that's Lokavidu. Are there other places where you found out the Pali word Loka? Lokavidu, then here Lokadhatu, then where else?
Itipiso, is it? Is it Itipiso?
Yeah, that's the one we picked up, Lokavidu. And then I think I have multiple times shared with you a sutta called Rohitasa Sutta. In the Rohitasa Sutta, there was a Deva, who was named as Rohitasa, came to see the Buddha. And then he told the Buddha, I was a powerful skywalker. And then I wanted to go to the end of this physical world. Right? And then finally he passed away. And then the Buddha said, hey, that is not the real world. World is inside of your body, in this one fathom body with consciousness. So that's another place. That means internal world. This internal world is very important. And, for those who joined the Pali class yesterday, we talk about Patavi, Ko Imang Pataving Vijayasatya. That Patavi is earth existence. That means not the muddy, pebble, asphalted roads. That means this existence of earth. That means next life, different hells, heavens, and all these places. Okay, now there are a lot of things to discuss, but I have to cut down a lot of things because depending on our focus. Now, Sabba Loke. Now here it is said that someone can have a certain non-delight about the world. Do we have a non-delight about the world? Do you understand the Pali word, English word delight? It could be a part of enjoying, more towards someone who is relating to this physical world, physical and mental world. Sabba loke anabhirata san. There is someone who is not connecting to the physical, material, mental world so much. Now we know in the physics point of view, we have certain theories about it. What is it? Gravitation. What is the gravitation? That means there is a certain attraction between the ground and then the
center of the earth.
The earth. So then what happens? Always we see that attraction. That is from the point of physics. But on top of that, do we have a certain attraction to this earth, material things and all that time to time? I think what we are doing for the whole life is that, right? Indirectly and directly, what we are doing for the whole life is that we are developing a certain liking, probably as a craving at a certain point, maybe a clinging at a certain point, and then finally we are done. So what do you think? Did the Buddha ask here by Sabaloke Anabhita Sanya, that we need to have a certain apathy, very low interest about the world. What does he ask here? You know what is meant by apathy, right? Low interest, no interest at all. Can we live in this world without any interest towards material things, loved ones, things that we like? Is it possible? Is it possible? I'm asking you. A very simple question.
Yeah, we have to live in the
No.
cave.
Yeah, no, no.
It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not practical. Actually, we have to look at Buddhism from a practical point of view. That means we have to we live with a certain reference to the liking or attract in the universe. Though we like or not, we might not like it from a high-end Dhamma teaching, but we have to. But when we see Sabbaluke Anabrita Sanya, it does not mean that everybody has to live without a certain liking towards the world. That means we must have a certain liking towards the world. What do we mean by that? Say, for instance, there is someone who is very fed up, frustrated about the whole life, his or her life. What would be his or her plan next, normally? Being very stressed out. And when there is no support system, what would happen immediately?
Suicide, Bhante.
Then suicide. Suicide can be a step that they might take. Normally, most of the people who are thinking like that most of them are in today's world who are thinking to that level are young people. We can see that there is a growing, number about this suicide. Why is it? They're liking this world too much. They are really liking this world too much. And then at a certain point, they lose the interest all of a sudden. Right? At that point, they don't know that there is a way that he or she or they can get out. They have a way out for them. Right? So that means that could be an excessive connection to the world. This unnecessary way of, but for normal, all of you, you have to like people, you have to like certain things. That's how you are living in this world. Without liking, you can't live. But liking and craving are two things. Don't get messed up with those two. I think a lot of Buddhists, they get complicated. Liking and then craving. It's not the difference between a platonic love and a sensual love. it's not that kind of thing. Yeah, I love everybody, but it's their platonic, Plato kind of love. But the idea here is that liking and then what you call craving, they are two different things. Now, say for instance, there are things that are happening in your life which you don't like, but they are very common stuff. Let's say you have a dietary restriction. You cannot drink lactose, because you are lactose intolerant by nature now at this point. Then you are going for a place, coffee shop, kopitanga, and then you are going to have a certain lactose-based beverage. So you can't take it, because if you take it, things are happening to you. So you have to stop that having. You have to avoid it. But that avoiding is not a dislike. Maybe that you are choosing the other one, which is not lactose, that is a like. So we cannot say when someone is enjoying one's life, food, people, sights, sounds, comfort, we cannot tell that you are not Buddhist, because Buddhism has to be practical. How do we make Buddhism to the level of practice? I mean, in a practical way, by trying to put them into our daily life. So here you need to understand, you should not be misunderstood that Sabbaloke Anabirita Sanya means you are not going to care about this world. You are creating a certain apathy about the world. It is not what the Buddha is talking here. Or in your own words, you might say that I don't care about the world. It's not Sabbaloke Anabirita Sanya. There are many people who might say, I don't care about the world. I don't watch news. I don't follow social media. And I'm just somebody, in my own self. Right? It's not Sabbaloke Anabirita Sanya. Sabbaloke Anabirita Sanya means you are not going to be too much connected to the world. Too much obsessively connected to the world. We will see how we can do that. Okay. I think before that, let's discuss about this Sabbaloka. What is this Sabbaloka? There are two ways to look at it. One way is the physical world. What is the physical world with regard to the loka? Physical world means, in today's world, you might see the continents. In the Buddhist cosmology, we understand Kama Loka, Kama Rupa, Arupa Lokas. Do people have a certain clinging, craving towards these three worlds initially? Someone is bringing some dana to someone, maybe Sangha members. Someone is doing a certain gift giving to somebody. But at the end of the activity, this person is going to think, by the power of this merit, may I be able to be reborn in the Deva world. And I want to become that big Deva which I see all the time in the shrine hall in the temple there. This is one idea. But then what is happening is that that person shouldn't have needed to think, made a wish like that, because it's a complementary thing. But you have done the particular good karma just to be reborn as that kind of a deva. That means you are having a certain delight in the karma world again. Right? You could have done it differently by removing your lobha dosa moha, greed, hatred, delusion. Say, for instance, there is someone out of anger, frustration, thinking, next life, I'm going to take revenge from you. This life, I'm not that much powerful. Next life, I'm going to take revenge. We know some Dhamma stories, right? Kali Yakkini story. In that story, two women are cursing each other. This life, I'm so weak. I cannot make any. But next life, I will be your son or daughter, and then you cannot do anything to me. I'm going to take revenge from you. See what happens. Sometimes enemies come to our life as close loved ones. We cannot do anything. Right? What if the enemy is going to be reborn in your womb next life? If you are a lady, you can't do anything. You are a daughter, your son. Right? Sometimes we see in today's world, loved ones kill each other, they hurt each other, stab each other. Why is this happening? They are so good before. It is because these things are coming up later on in their life. Right? So, then continuing the akusala activities to the next life is also a delight in the karma world. Right? So, physically, people are connected so much, creating craving towards the next world. So that means they don't have the Sabbaloke Anabirita Sanya. On the other hand, we have our own internal world. What is the internal world? Do we continue, maintain?
Bhante, maybe it's the sixth sense basis.
Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jiva, Kaya, Mana. They are very big factories. They are not only imported factories. They are doing importing and exporting. Only in a factory, You are importing stuff from other country and then you are exporting. But these 6 factories are the largest factories we never seen anywhere in the world. When you go to certain areas, you see certain factories. But these factories are the largest in our own factories. Importing, exporting. But sometimes these are the factories of lots of misinformation. In today's funny words, we say fake news. Lot of fake news happening in those misinformation factories. There are 6 misinformation factories. Because of this misinformation, not even that we call them as fake news, but we are diluted with this ton of information. So second layer of the world, Sapaloka, is our own 6 sensory factories where we gather and then we distribute. We gather misinformation, we then distribute misinformation. There is no QC, no quality, no QC. Finally, everybody is diluted. And then this whole experience can be said as 2 types of world: physical world, mental world. All right, so then we will see how is someone creating this problem with regard to this sanya. And we are trying to look at the good side of this sanya. Missing part, upayupadana. Okay, there are 2 things happening. Upaya means there are certain, there are certain strategies, methods, thoughts at the same time clinging that are happening with regard to Cheta. So, Aditthana, Abhinivesana, Anusaya. Normally, this craving or clinging towards the world happen through 3 things. Number 1 is Aditthana. Let's take this Pali word. Aditthana. Aditthana means, have you ever heard this Pali word before? Aditthana. What does Aditthana mean? Then second, Abhinivesana. What is Abhinivesana? Third one is Anusaya. So we have to understand these 3 Pali words because these 3 are the contents of this problem. We cannot have this non-delight in the whole world because we are deluded by these 3 things. Aditthana. Have you ever heard this Pali word before? Aditthana.
Determination, Bhante, is the 10 perfections, one of the factors.
This is mentioned as a paramita, right? Paramita. Actually, Aditthana has been translated as resolution, determination, resolve, wish, right? There are many words. So normally Aditthana means that we have our own, I would say, decisions, purposes, plans, goals, right? It's a very big area when we say Aditthana. Even when you ask a small kid, who do you want to be? Yeah, I want to be this and that person, right? They all have their own plans, their purposes. So Aditthana means that kind of information. Then Abhinivesana. Abhinivesana means, this is an interesting Pali word. Abhinivesana means, this is a tendency. Now, when we are struggling with certain our own ways of goal making, when we become very goal oriented, when we become oriented about the finish part, the finish line, maybe the end purpose, too much, so heavily, then definitely we are having a tendency towards getting it done, towards having it fulfilled in whatever the way, right? So once you created a certain resolution or that kind of a goal-oriented, actually we all are goal-oriented. There's no problem. The problem is that there are people who are heavily goal-oriented, obsessively goal-oriented. They are, I would say, with so much craving, they are going to be goal-oriented. Right? That is why Abhinivesana part is coming up, tendency. So when you have a very heavy goal, no matter what kind of situation you are going through, you really want to make it. At that point, you create a tendency to make it. Can we think about an example here? What kind of example can we think about to Aditthana and then Abhinivesana part? There is someone who has a dream of becoming somebody, but then halfway of that attempting on that journey, this is going to fail. That particular attempt is going to fail. And then this person is creating lots of tendencies about frustration, or maybe why I could not go, why other people are making it happen, right? And all that. Then Anusaya, I think you know this Pali word very well.
Lies dormant.
Anusaya
The
means
akusala lies in the dormant.
this is closely going with Abhinivesana as well. We normally call it latent tendencies, dormant, latent tendencies. Anusaya means dormant, latent. Now, tendency becomes dormant. I think we can take it that way. The Abhinivesana, what you call the tendency that was popped up at the level of Abhinivesana become dormant. Actually, are there things that are dormant in our life, in our body as well? We have, right? Now we know there's a very famous example when we catch chicken pox, and we know that there's one particular scar mark is not going away. Medically speaking, if you ask somebody, they say that the virus is not going out of our body 100%. Then one particular small chickenpox-related virus is going to be living at the bottom of our spinal cord, being dormant for many years. But when we hit 50, we lose our immunity. At that point, this dormant chickenpox leftover virus is going to pop up. We call it as shingles.
Shingles. Yeah.
That's why they say by the age of 50, you must get the shingle vaccine. So that means these dormant activities are happening in our body as well. What about the dormant activities with regard to the delight and non-delight? Now here we understand Aditthana, Abhinivesana, Anusaya is the consistency of our wrong perception about the world. When someone is developing a certain, I would say, non-virtuous understanding about the world, this person is really creating these three. A goal-oriented plan, a very obsessive, too heavy, goal-oriented plan, whatever the purpose at that point, with a tendency, and tendency become dormant, right? That's why some people, when they are asked, do you really like that thing? I don't know. But because it's Anusaya, Anusaya means it's dormant. Sometimes we even don't know our own akusalas. Why is it? They are not they don't stand out, right? Do you think our akusalas are always standing out? You can see your own akusala. That's why when you become angry, write down what is coming to your mind in a book and then read it later. Because that anger will not come again for many hours after that. Then you know how evil can you go. Right? Write down. It's good. Right? It's like a pressure chart, right? The doctors say, yeah, you have a good pressure, but write down your pressure morning, afternoon, evening. Yeah? They are saying to some people, right? Why is it? Sometimes without our understanding, these pressure levels can go high. Only when we maintain the 3 times of the day, then you understand something wrong in the morning. Why my pressure is going high in the morning? Why it is okay in the afternoon? Why again it's going high in the evening. But when you do it randomly, you are okay. You have no problem. Right? In the same way, we understand here that they become dormant. All right. So Sabbaloke Anubhita Sanya has this this type of consistency. Then what are we supposed to do here then? I think we have to talk about a solution here. What could be the solution for this? Can we live without Aditthana? I'm asking, can we live without Aditthana? We cannot live without the purpose. Actually, when we describe Buddhism, introduce Buddhism to someone, even the people who know Buddhism a little bit, or the newbies who never know Buddhism, we have to be very careful because lots of people, out of their proper direction issue in the focus of the place, they might describe Buddhism as a place where people don't have a purpose. Buddhists are purposeless because everything is impermanent. If everything is impermanent, how come you keep a purpose in your life? I think there's a valid argument. The problem is that who told that the Buddhists don't have a purpose? If somebody doesn't have a purpose, that is going to be a very messed up life. Right? So we should have a direction in our Dhamma journey. So then how to describe anicca? I think we discussed that. Our first sanya, that was anicca sanya. How did we discuss that? We said there is a translation problem again for this anicca. We said anicca can be better translated as the generic word for change or changes. Accepting changes in our life, embracing more changes in our life. We understand that a lot of people, they accept negative changes only. They don't accept positive changes. So we were asking people to accept both changes. Right? When we accept the both changes, we understand anicca is not just a concept about the negativities. If you ask 1,000 people about what is anicca, they will tell you anicca means aging, death, and then sickness. Is this life without happiness? What is the happiness of this life? Why did the Buddha talk about Nibbana? Tell me. Why is it? Why does the Buddha introduce Nibbana? What does the Buddha say is that whatever the happiness you are enjoying in your life is not real happiness. Nibbana is the highest happiness. Then Buddha also bringing Nibbana as a happiness, part of the happiness package. Then why are we focusing more on unnecessary things? Nibbana is the highest happiness. So then how to introduce purpose? We should have purpose. That's why we have to practice Dhamma. Buddhists are not purposeless. Buddhists have an ambition, purpose, but they have to manage their energy. How do we know that there is a Buddhist who is not managing energy? Someone who becomes very I-minded. Someone who becomes very selfish about one's practice. Don't disturb me. I meditate. I was almost going to be a Sotapanna today, but you just messed it up. And don't knock my door. So, my kuti has to be very safe, sound place. Why is this understanding coming up? Who told you that silence is the key to become enlightened? Then all these patachara and all these people would have never become enlightened by seeing the water coming from up to the, to a lower place was the trigger point of that person. So what does this mean? This means that particular person is not practicing the journey, rather he or she become very selfish, obsessively selfish with the practice. That means this person is practicing without a teacher. That's the trigger point. If the real teacher came into that person's life, definitely he or she should have been advised, hey, this is not the way. This is not the way. It's like your L license. You are driving on a very remote area first. Then, are you supposed to drive on those remote areas? No, you have to take your car to the highway, freeway, highway, city. Go and check your driving. See whether you can drive with all these people. So when we practice, those things, we have to understand we cannot do it as a solo room only practice. We have to get together. Kalyana means so that means, once again, we cannot run away from the world. Rather than we practice, we understand, but we don't develop a craving or a clinging towards the world. Material world, mental world, emotional world. That's the most important thing. I think that is how we are going to keep up with this Sabbaloke under the sun. Remember the Pali stanza in the sutta called Nibbedika Pariyaya Sutta? Maybe I'm going to send that to you. It's a very interesting sutta about this point of view. In the Nibbedika Pariyaya Sutta, it's the only sutta about penetration. Penetration about the Dhamma matters. This one. Okay, Nibbedika Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 6.63. Now, the passion for one's determination is human sensuality, not the beautiful sensual pleasures found in the world. The beauties remain as they are in the world, while the wise person in this regard subdue their whatever sensualities. So that means we cannot blame the world for the distractions. It is us that we have to manage our understanding about the world. Right? On the other hand, probably I'm going to actually give you a couple of sutta ideas here. Very interesting one is coming up with the sutta we done before. Can you remember the first sutta we did in our sutta discussion long time ago? More than 2 years ago. What was that sutta? Mangala Sutta. Mangala Sutta gives another background to this idea, this loka, sabbaloke, anabhirsanya. What is it? Mangala Sutta. There is a stanza in the Mangala Sutta. It says, a mind that remains unshaken by the ups and downs of the world. Ups and downs of the world, sorrowless, stainless, and safe. This is the greatest blessing. What's the Pali stanza for that? Puttassa loka dhammehi. Loka dhammehi. See, Puttassa loka dhammehi. Chittang yasana kampati. Asokang virajang kema. Etam mangalam. Now let's go back. Puttassa loka dhammehi. What are the loka dhammas? Loka dhamma means the nature of the world. Nature of which world? Which world is that? This world? But is this the nature of this world?
Worldly conditions, the labba,
Now, which world is it talking over here?
This
Mental world. It's the
mundane.
mental world. Internal mental world. The nature of the internal mental world is always vulnerable to 8 things. I'm not talking about continents. I'm not talking about geography. I'm talking about our internal world. That world is always vulnerable to 8 things. What are they?
Labba, alabba, yasa,
Labba.
yasa,
Maybe I have to
hasansan.
write it with translation. Labba means gain. Then alabba means loss. Number 3, labu alabu. Ayasa means what do you call? Criticism.
Ninda.
Yasa means compliment. compliment. Then the fifth one, Ninda means blame. And number 6, Asansa means fame. Then Sukha means happiness. And finally, Dukkha means pain. Let's put it pain, not suffering. Not all pains are suffering. What pain is not suffering? Is there a pain that is not suffering? There are people who are saying that it's not suffering, that it's a good pain. They use different words for that. Anyways, so these are the 8. I'm going to delete this one. Number 1, which one is overlapping here. Okay, these are the 8 worldly conditions that are coming to our internal world. Labo, alabo, aiso, yaso, ninda, prasansa, sukha, dukkha. So, Mangala Sutta says, if you are really following the Buddha's teachings, you are really managing this 8 whenever they come to you. Let's look at the good and bad side. Number 1 is good. Number 4 is good. Number 6 is good. Number 7 is good. 2 is not very pleasant. 3 is not very pleasant. Number 5 is also not very pleasant. Then number 8 is also not pleasant. Then what can we do when we are going through these things? Loss. Alab. Alab. Is alab, loss, a good experience to us? Do we learn from our losses?
Yes.
You are lending money to
Lesson.
someone who is not paying you back. You never know.
Yes.
Somebody borrowing lots of money from you. You never know whether he or she can pay you back or not. No agreement, anything. Just a word of mouth. And then you learn. I should not simply lend money to other people. Okay? What are the other losses that can happen to you? Financial losses. Okay? That means finances have to be managed. Buddha said your finances have to be managed. That's why we discussed Patta Kamma Sutta. We discussed all that before. Buddha said wealth has to be managed. Money has to be managed. Those who could not come that time, you can go back and watch those videos. We discussed that extensively. But we have to understand losses are happening time to time, but we learn from each loss. Is that a good lesson? We learn. Sometimes we can minimize. Let's say you are looking for a good restaurant. Finally, you are eating from not a good, happy restaurant. Next time, you are not going there anymore. You learn the lesson out of it. Right? Lot of examples. Criticism, number 3, ayasa. Criticism. Criticism. Is criticism a blessing in our life? There are people always criticizing you, lecturing you, language is always scolding you. Are you happy for that?
No.
You can't do this, you have to sit like this, you have to like this. And
Yes,
then from morning to evening, you have lots of criticism. Actually, criticism
Depends, Bhante.
Constructive is okay.
constructive, but even constructive, if it comes all the time, you might be tired. Why is it happening now? You don't see any good things about me. Like people would like to talk from a very positive point of view. But we understand ayasa will come to us. We learn a lesson out of it. At the same time, we can be self-critical about us. And we can accept constructive criticism. At the same time, we have to think that it can come anytime. Remember the story Atula, A-T-U-L-A. Who is Atula? Atula. Atula is a upasaka, layman, the Buddha's upasaka. One day he went to the temple, Jetavanaram, with his followers. And then he approached, I think, very famous monk, who can give Dhamma talks. And then he gave a Dhamma talk. But it was very short and sweet. So Atula and other Upasakas didn't like the Dhamma talk. This is not what we expected. And then they approached Venerable Ananda. Venerable Ananda gave a very deep, very long Dhamma talk. Because he is good for Diga Nikaya, right? Very long Dhamma talk. It's too long. And then they approached Arahant Sariputta, the first disciple of the Buddha. He gave a Abhidhamma talk. Oh, too deep. It's very deep for us, actually. Cannot understand anything. Then they went to the Buddha. We approached most of your very, what you call senior disciples, but we are not happy. Then the Buddha said, who is not getting criticized in this world? Criticism is a normal thing. Don't make it a special thing. Then when the criticism is coming to us, embrace the criticism, not try to get panic about it. But sometimes, depending on the criticism, you have to stay away from unnecessary people. You may have to defend. It's going case by case. But anyways, it's a worldly condition. Yasa, compliment. Are we getting more compliments or criticism in our daily life? What are you getting more? Compliments or criticism?
Criticism.
You might not tell that. Then I understand who are you with that. Right? Criticism, I said, yeah. Who is getting more compliments? Yeah. One of the lucky, extraordinary persons. Compliments, right? Actually, I remember there was somebody long time ago. Nobody has said that this person is pretty. After 30, 40 years, somebody in a particular function had to tell this person, you are such a pretty person. That means she has not been getting any compliments from anybody. You think about what kind of people that she was surrounded by up to that point, right? I think we have to be generous, not even giving dana only, food dana. We have to be generous about our compliments as well. So we can make other people's days, can really make a difference. And ninda means scolding. Yeah, we discussed that. Pasansa means reputation, right? And then sukha means happiness, and dukkha means pain. So now there are 8 worldly conditions. In the Mangala Sutta, Buddha said, if you really want a higher blessing, don't get change when you are receiving these 8, because these 8 are coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. So don't worry about these things. So here we understand loka. That means when we maintain our loka world, these are inevitable. These are compulsory. Right? And then let's take a look at another place where we find out this loka idea. I would say, all right, probably okay, this is from the ascetic Siddhartha's one of the perceptions that he went through. Okay. Pubbeva Sambodha Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 3.103. Now, what does he say when he became an ascetic? When I was not yet enlightened, not became the Buddha at that point, it occurred to me in this world, what is the satisfaction? What is the danger and what is the escape? Then it occurred to me the arising of pleasure and pleasantness in the world on account of something is the satisfaction in this world. I think that's very true, right? We are looking for pleasure through the conditions. That there is anicca, unpleasantness, and change in the world. That is the danger. the driving out interest and greed in the world, the dispelling of interest and greed is the escape from the world. Same idea. That means this Sabbaloke Anabhirata Sanya was a primary perception that came to the Asasi Siddhartha as well. That means you are going to practice this Sanya not by disconnecting from the world, but by not excessively connecting to the whole world. All right, any questions before we proceed to the next level? Do you have any questions so far about this particular Sanya?
I think theoretically is difficult. I mean, like difficult to practice, but theoretically is okay. I mean,
No, every Dhamma thing is has a certain procedure to practice. I mean, not in our comfort zone though. Dhamma is not always in our comfort zone. The idea here is that we cannot disconnect from the world. We have to connect to the world, internal and physical world, but we should not overly cling or maybe cling to this internal and physical world. I think that's pretty commonplace. That's pretty general idea about Buddhism. Because
and to be
say
aware
for-
of the and to be aware of the 8 winds as well. To be aware of the eight winds.
Yes, 8 worldly conditions. Yeah. Say for instance, let's take an example. Someone who is overly attached to the money, making money. Now think about this person's view against this idea, Sabbaloke Anabhirata Sanya. Someone who is very much into money making, do you think that person has this Sabbaloke Anabhirata Sanya? Non-delight nature with regard to the world?
No.
No, this person is always pressured and then taken aback, driven by this goal machine about money, right? But sometimes when this person, if somebody else is looking at this person's perspective, thinking that, do you need that much money? You don't need that much money, but that it's not nice to say that to that person because it's not your business, my business. But generally speaking, that particular person doesn't need that much money, but always driven by the money because he or she always looking for the opportunities, too much opportunities. Maybe opportunities that are arisen, that are not arisen at that point. So that means there are people who have been really pressurized by these worldly activities, this world, this universe, this internal world.
But sometimes it's the condition of the person, Bhante. It's the condition, the upbringing, everything,
Yeah, all are included. I mean, it's not something that happens abruptly. Now, say for instance, there is someone who is growing up in a house where the parents pretty much they are hoarders, professional hoarders. I mean, a family where we see there's a father who doesn't like to throw away unnecessary things in the house. And you sometimes can't even get in the house. Then always telling that, no, sentimental things, how come you're going to throw them? These are not garbage. Then there is someone who is growing in this house. It can work this way or that way, other way too. Then this particular parent's activity might affect those children as well to understand about the hoarding, right? So so they definitely environmental aspects where somebody is growing up. Another thing is genetic approach as well. Sometimes you are passing your akusala activities to your children, even without environmentally affecting them. It's like passing your genes of jealousy. You can do that. You got to be very careful, right? That means your genes, they are carrying your akusalas as well. Let's say if you are not changing your akusalas, you are going to give birth to a child. That child is going to absorb into this gene. It's like you are passing your, what do you call? Your generational medical problems to them, you know. So that means it can go as a genetic influence or environmental, household, domestic thing to others. Not even that, the country basic stuff, culture basic stuff, right? So this can go to pass down to other people in many ways. But we are not worried about things that we cannot control, right? We are concerned about what we can do in not connecting too much with the external world and internal world. That's what we have to think about, because things that you cannot do that much, you should not be very much obsessed about it. Now think about the anger of First Nations against the people who colonize certain part of North America. There was an article. There are many books written by scholars that these people are passing that anger to their next generations. So next generations are always angry, because what they hear in the household from the parents are all angry-based words about somebody. So then it will pass down to them. All right, any questions about this thing so far? We can discuss more. Oh, maybe I can ask you, how much do you like the world? That's a good question, right? Someone who has a, too much liking about the world may have different thoughts about the world. What about traveling? Someone wants to travel everywhere in the world. Is that a liking the world? How do we understand that? What do you think about traveling here and there? Want to see what's happening in that part of the world? How do we see that one? Because it says non-delight in the entire world. If you practice this, can you still travel outside of your country? How do we look at it?
There must be a purpose, Bhante. Sorry.
Well, some people don't need to. They think don't need to have. We just go, just travel, buy a ticket and travel. How are they called? Backpackers, huh? Those backpackers, solo travelers.
So what is the question here, Bhante? Are you saying
My question is now this perception, 8 perception is what you call Sabba Loke, entire world, Anabhirata Sanya. The Buddha says, when you practice this particular Sanya, which means creating non-delight, that means you are not too much enjoying the world. When you practice it, you can heal. So now I'm asking you, if it is non-delight with regard to the world, say for instance, someone would like to travel the world, travel in the world. How do we take that experience with this sanya?
Contradicting.
That's what I'm asking. Is it contradictory, or is it something that we have to learn more about it?
It's not, Bhante, maybe my opinion is if we have a purpose to travel, either to know more about the cultures of other people, or how they do something, like if you have a conference and you want to travel to other countries to see how they're doing things, practicing, and So these are some of the purpose that we do in traveling, while the others are to see the wonders of the world and experience the different way of living. Then I think in moderation it should be fine, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, it's not contradictory. But when you look at it from literal words, it can be contradictory because you travel to understand the cultures, understand what's happening. When you have a good understanding about that there are different other people than how I think, then what will happen to my mindset? I understand more people. Then I become more tolerant about the cultures, other people. When you're not traveling that much, everything will become intolerant to you. What is this? Huh? You are not eating like how I eat. You are not thinking how I think. So I think you are a very different antisocial being because you don't think like how I think.
Yeah.
I think these things will be really solved if you can. If you cannot travel, that's a different problem. At least not outside the country, even inside the country, you get to know things. So, but then what is the relationship between this and that particular part? Here, what the Buddha says is that you can enjoy your life. You can connect to the world, no problem. You can travel. But don't develop a clinging to the world. Clinging means don't create obsessions about the world.
Yeah.
How do we create obsessions? By preferences. By preferences. Say, for instance, if someone is asking you, which country would you like to go? Only one country is that particular country. Then what is that? What about other countries? No, we have to estimate every country different. You cannot compare one country to the other country. Every country, every place has a beauty. And if you have that understanding, you are not clashing with this sanya. But if you think, no, my personal judgment is this is the best. We usually want to do that. We want to prefer things. That preference will be lowered. If you prefer too much, then you are going to be vulnerable to the opposite of this sanya. But without doing preferential stuff, you can still go.
Yeah.
That is the idea of this. That means you can still enjoy, connect to the world, but don't create an obsession, infatuation about anything. That would be the problem.
Yeah, we all love traveling, Bhante, to
Yes.
see the world.
Yes. But world is not going to be found out anytime, It's too big. So the idea is that we should not make preferences about the places. We are good.
I think, Bhante, can I say, is it, I think is the middle path, right? Not too obsessive and we need a balance.
Yeah. Middle path.
Middle path.
Yeah,
Rather
middle
than
path. It is a very broad interpretation that although we understand the nature of our path, but if we nail down to this 8 sanya, sabbaloke, another sanya, we can understand little better from that sanya itself. You can connect to the world, you can like the world, but don't prefer. Don't create lots of preferences. The time that you make preferences, the time that you are becoming obsessive about those places. Yes, Gan, you have a question?
Yeah, to me, Bhante, traveling is not as bad because we are collecting experiences rather than collecting material gain where people will tend to cling more with, like objects, money, wealth. But travel is just collecting experiences and it's not really, for me, it's not.
It's a case by case by case. Even some people, they don't collect material thing, but they collect their experiences.
Yes.
They might create clinging to the experience after that.
Yes, true.
So I think because finally it nails down to the experience. But anyways, traveling is not a problem here. The problem is making preferences. Actually, the English Pali word for that is abhinivesana. This is what we call the mental prejudice. Here you understand? Aditthana, let's go back to the sutta again one more time. We'll find it out.
Ti-Ratana.
Okay, it's gonna be here. Okay, you can see Katamachananda Sabbaluke Anabhidana Sanya. Then you can see here the problematic area of this opposite side of this idea. Aditthana is what you call excessively goal-oriented, resolution-based. Abhinivesana means mental prejudice. Okay, this is the problem that people do when they are referring to the world. They are making lots of preferences, and then they will become dormant, and then they will create a natural what you call clinging. Okay, this part we did not discuss finally what to do. If you want to practice this non-delight with regard to the world without clinging, then you are going to pajahanto, give up this aditthana abhinivesanusaya. Viramati, you are going to prevent. You are not going to cling. Anupadiyanto. These are the three things. Pajahanto, viramati, the upadiyanto. Giving up, preventing, and then not clinging. So this is going to be the 8th sanya that we discuss. All right, maybe one more question if you have. Otherwise, we can go and transmit some merits today.
Bhante, can I explain again? Pajahanto is what meaning? I didn't catch it just now.
Pajahanto means giving up. Giving up the what you call excessive goal-orientedness, which has mental prejudice and what you call latent tendency. Giving up that particular experience where you are going to obsessively connect into the mental and then physical world. Giving up, you have three things to do. Giving up is pajahanto. Then viramati means preventing.
Okay.
And then anupadiyanto means not clinging. Giving up, preventing, not clinging to the obsessive goal-orientedness, which has mental prejudice, and then finally it becomes latent. Then you are practicing the non-delight with regard to the whole internal, external world.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you.
Yes. Right. So never ever say that you don't care about the world. Yes, we do care about the world. Otherwise, we have a certain apathy about the world, low interest, no interest about the world. But if you are someone, you think that news is trashy, don't watch that news, right? Let's say you turn like a person who turned the TV on and then see all the news today, and then you are bombarded with all the negative information. Somebody died, there was a bomb explosion, gun shooting, and then you start the day by looking at all this information. You have a choice. Do I need to watch all these things or not? You have a social media account, you have like all these news media, and you will see all the negative things all the time. You have a choice to do something about it. But here, that means we have to be socially aware about what's happening to the extent that we have to know. But don't become too much informed by these things. I think nowadays it's a problem. We get a lot of information, right? Lots of information. So we need to sort of filter them out. And then not creating the mental prejudice preferences too much. All right, any more questions? Okay, if not, we are going to transfer the good karmas at this point. May all the good karmas that we've been making today, on the first day of New Year, 2025, January 3rd, we discuss a very important sanya. Our sanya today we discussed was Sabbaloke, entire internal, mental, physical world, and we are supposed to create a non-delight. That doesn't mean we have to go away, disconnect from the world. No, we have to continuously be with the world, but we are not going to obsessively be a part of that world. So may all the good karmas we've been creating today in this sutta discussion be transferred to all the departed ones. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, Sadhu, sadhu. Idam me nyati nang hutu sukita huntu nyateo. Idam me nyati nang hutu sukita huntu nyate. Idam me nyati nang sukita huntu nyate. At the same time, may Devanaga Mahitika, non-human, powerful non-human beings, also receive all our good karmas. May they be well and happy. As this is our first discussion in the new year, I wish that may Devanaga Mahitika protect and bless all of you, your family members, everybody, for good health, quality of life, prosperity, safety. May you have a very blessed, fruitful, productive year. As you even more than what you wish. May Devanaga Mahindika always be with you in your Dhamma journey to protect you, to take care of you and give the blessings. May they finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu. Ettavata cha amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata cha amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata cha amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu sasanam. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanam. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mang paranti chirang rakkhantu mang sadati. Dhamma wish. Our Dhamma wish at the end of every good karma, be that the meditation, Dhamma talks, the discussion, Buddha puja, chanting, is to be surrounded with the Kalyana Mitras all the way to Nibbana. May we always have this company of Kalyana Mitras. This is the first blessing in the Mangala Sutta as well. Thinking thus, we're going to make the wish. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavanibbana pattiya. Finally, may all the good karmas we've been making today by learning the sanya number 8 in the Girimānanda Sutta for healing, physical, mental healing, be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silis nichang vadha pachainu chataru dhamma vadhanti ayuvanu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati samichatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right. Wishing you a good night, and we have to thank, grateful to the Ti-Ratana Vihar AP for hosting this session. It's the first day of the year, and it has been benefiting many people, and even the video talks and YouTube. Thank you, and then Aliyana, everybody, and yes, wishing you a good night. Seeing you then next Friday at the same time.
Good night,
Thank you.
Thank
Bhante.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Bhante. Thank you,
Bhante. Thank you,
everybody.
sadhu,
Good
sadhu.
night, brother.
Thank
Good night,
you.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Aliyana.